right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the final part of the show, we are now going to preview tonight's game between the New Orleans Saints and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So the Jags, obviously, they had a blowout win against the Colts last week, winning 37-20 over the Colts. So I mean, listen, and then they had a good game, and they had a good game against the Bills a couple of weeks ago in London. So they're starting to find their groove. Travis Etienne's having a good season. Trevor Lawrence, you hope, he continues to build off of these last couple of weeks. Has a 7-3 touchdown to interception ratio right now. So that's good. So let's kind of dive into the rest of the stats here. So he's got almost 1,500 yards passing. Christian Kirk right now is their leading receiver. He has 384 yards on the season with 2 touchdowns. Obviously, you want to see more from Calvin Ridley, because he's been very inconsistent this year. Had a very good first game, had a couple of duds this year. Didn't really do that much last week either. So you're hoping that, he can, get consistent and be more of, a force in this offense. Because, listen, I mean, he's shown it. And also he's had a couple of drops. Had a drop in the end zone against the Chiefs back in week 2. So you're hoping that he could find consistency. But again, this is a guy that missed basically 2 years of no football. So obviously, he probably did lose a step, but can still be productive, especially in this offense, as I'm trying to hold back a sneeze here. All right, I think we're good. I just hate when that happens. But anyways, so then we go to the Saints. Derek Carr, 1,299 passing yards, 5 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Alvin Kamara, since he's come back, he's been productive for them. And Chris Olave at the moment is their leading receiver. He's got a touchdown on the year. So when you look at both offenses, so in passing yards, they're 13th and 14th. So the Jags are averaging 241.2 passing yards per game. The Saints are averaging 237.5 passing yards per game. So the passing game is really about the same with both of these teams. Rushing yards, the Jags kind of have the edge there. Obviously, if Alvin Kamara played every single game because, he was dealing with the suspension, it'd probably be higher for the Saints. But right now, the Jags, they're averaging 113.5 rushing yards per game, which is 15th in the NFL. And the Saints are averaging 95.8 yards, rushing yards per game. That's 23rd. And then, points scored, the Jags are top 10, Saints are 24th. So, Trevor Lawrence plays tonight. Again, that's another reason why I, would give the edge to the Jags is, because their offense is starting to get it going, especially. And the Saints, they just struggle to score points. So, then we look on the defensive side of the ball. Saints, actually, both teams are top 10 against the run. So, that's big there. Passing yards, the Saints defense has given up 197.8 passing yards per game, so that's 5th. And the Jags are 29th, giving up 281.2 passing yards per game. So, Derek Carr did throw the ball for 353 yards last week. So, they could take advantage of that in this game. And then, the Saints, they haven't really ran the ball that well. Jags are good against the run, so they're going to have to throw it. And then points allowed, the Saints are 6th, so they're giving up an average of 16 points per game. And the Jags are 15th. They're giving up an average of 20.3 points per game, which is 15th. So, I mean, the Saints defense, obviously, I wouldn't say is a dominant defense. But, the Saints have been in a lot of close games this year. I mean, the first 3 games of the season, they won 16-15, 20-17, lost 18-17 to the Packers. I mean, they blew that 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. Against the Bucs, they didn't play that good. New England, they shut them out. Texans, they lost by 7. But, they've been in a lot of close games. this is a big game for them. Right now they come in at 3-3. The Jags 4-2. Right now I'd probably lean towards the Jags if Trevor Lawrence does play. Just because I really just don't trust the Saints offense at all. I just, for some reason, they've been struggling to score points. I mean, they missed a couple of field goals last week, which is something you don't want. And the Jags defense is, starting to play good as well. So, yeah, right now I'd probably lean towards the Jags. I mean, I don't think I'm brave enough to take the Saints. I just really don't trust them at the moment. I think it will be, I mean, it's going to be a close game. It will be a close game. Right now, the line is at Saints are favored -2.5. So, and listen, I don't like 2.5 point spreads. I just don't. I'm very bad at picking them. And based off of what I did last week, I expect kind of more of the same. But yeah, I'd probably lean towards the Jags. Again, but it's mostly because I just don't trust the Saints offense. I really do not trust them. I would say this is probably going to be like a 3-point game. If Trevor Lawrence plays, I say the Jags probably win like 20-17, like a low scoring game. But anything's possible. I mean, this is a big game for the Saints, obviously. I mean, it's going to be between them and the Bucs, I think, for the division. I think the Falcons are kind of showing who they really are with, Desmond Ridder at quarterback. I mean, there's now some. I honestly forgot he was on the Falcons. Taylor Heineke's the backup. People are saying, hey, maybe you give him a shot instead of Desmond Ridder. But yeah, right now I would say it's probably between the Saints and the Bucs for the division at the moment. Bucs already got a leg up on them just because they won the game against them a couple weeks ago. But I don't know. I mean, this game should be good. I think this game will be good. But right now I just look at the Jags as the better team. Obviously, if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, that kind of changes a lot of things. Then I'd probably pick the Saints to win. I mean, if the Saints then were to lose to C.J. Beathard, then my dog's starting to bark. If C.J. Beathard plays, I would probably obviously switch my pick to the Saints, but yeah, I mean it's still looking like Trevor Lawrence is a game time decision, but I still think he's gonna play. But I mean we'll just have to wait and see. And I mean Derek Carr, again, like he threw for a lot of yards the other day, but the Saints just could not cash in. They just couldn't. I mean they went for it on 4th down, in Texans territory. They didn't get it. Missed field goals. I mean they've left points on the board. So, and listen, Kamara's looked good since he's come back. Jamal Williams, actually, he's actually supposed to play because he was placed on IR earlier this season, so he's coming back. So that's big. But yeah, I mean the Saints, they're one of those weird teams this year. So we'll just have to wait and see. We'll look at the injury report. So yeah, Trevor Lawrence is questionable. You got Zay Jones has been ruled out. Tyson Campbell, their corner's been ruled out. Walker Little, offensive tackle, he's been ruled out. Brandon Sheriff is questionable. So some guys on the offensive line. So, the Saints could take advantage of that. Saints got a lot of guys, too, on the injury report. So Demario Davis, he's questionable with a knee. Tyrann Mathieu, questionable with a foot. Juwan Johnson, he's ruled out with a calf injury. Lonnie Johnson, questionable with a hamstring. James Hurst, out with an ankle. J.T. Gray, out with a hamstring. I can't pronounce his name. The offensive tackle for the Saints, Ryan Ramczyk. Right? Is that how you pronounce it? Well, I mean, again, one of the better offensive tackles in the league. He's out with the concussion, and Landon Young, he's out with the hip injury. So you got, again, guys on the offensive line for the Saints are ruled out. So that's, that's not good. Both teams are coming in with their share of injuries. Again, Trevor Lawrence doesn't play. That kind of changes like the whole complexion of the game. So, Um, you know, so right now I probably lean towards Jags winning a close game, but I don't know. We'll see. We will see what happens. I think for the Jags right now, with what's going on in the South with Anthony Richardson being ruled out for the rest of the season, the Titans, Tannehill's injury. I mean, right now their biggest competitor, I think, for the division is the Texans. So, and they've already beaten them. So, but I think the Jags, they should win their division. For the Saints, it's tougher for them with their division just because they already lost to the Bucs. And I think the Jags again are starting to find it. For the Saints, they're still trying to get more consistent on offense. Defense is still solid, but not great. So I expect this to be maybe more of a low-scoring affair. So like I said, I think it'd probably be like a 20-17 ball game, maybe. I mean, listen, we'll see what happens tonight. But this would be a big win for the Saints if they could get it done. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think about this game. Who do you guys have winning tonight's game between these two teams? I mean, listen, it's not a spectacular Thursday night game, but I definitely think it's an improvement over last week's. I don't expect it to be 19-8, a weird score like that. Still can't get over the fact that there was one other game with that kind of score in the history of the NFL. Because I was like, oh, that's a scoregami. Well, it wasn't. It was not. 1927, 19-8. That was the last time a score of 19-8 happened in the NFL. Against it was with the New York Yankees and the Buffalo Bisons. I know I did mention that last week, but yeah, that was interesting to learn though. So I don't expect the 19-8 game again. It's not going to be that much more scoring from that score. 20-17 is around the same with the score from last week. Just another touchdown to tack on to that, but yeah, listen, hopefully Trevor Lawrence plays because, if CJ Beathard ends up playing, then this game is not really that much of it might not be an improvement at all. Trevor Lawrence plays against Derek Carr. I think it should be a good game. It should be a close, low-scoring game. That's what I think. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about all the topics that I went over today. Thoughts on Anthony Richardson being out for the season. Goodell getting an extension. McCall Hardman back to the Chiefs. Is Justin Herbert overrated? Is Bill Belichick, is this his last season with New England? And, of course, your thoughts on the game for tonight. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the live portion of today's show. So, I thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section, like and subscribe to the video. I greatly appreciate that. And again, to, get your comments recognized during the live broadcast so I answer them, and I definitely answer them, as a super chat, for a donation and tip, you go to streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And it's on the ticker on the bottom, as you can see. And then obviously, to go to patreon.com, a reminder to go to patreon.com and search up GSMC Sports Network for all the exclusive content on this channel. So, for the other podcasts as well on the GSMC Sports Network. So, but yeah, that's basically it. So, with that, I'm Kenneth Grunfelder signing off from the GSMC Football Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Have a good day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.